Okay, fragrance lovers, we're getting ready to go to France, where the fragrance of Guerlain, and no one, in my opinion, does Guerlain fragrances when it comes to vanilla. They are, in my opinion, the king of vanilla. If you like vanilla, there is none better. Though there are many other choices that later on I will bring to you, because there's some pros and cons about this particular fragrance line. This here is the top of the line, and they're exclusive only to boutiques. You will not find these in your typical Saks, unless you may be in Las Vegas, maybe New York, or in the UK. Then you would run into this, but you would not find this in the typical Saks, Nordstrom, or Neiman Marcus. So let's get into this video. Guerlain is a legendary French perfume house with over 175 years of outstanding business. It was founded by Pierre-François Pascal Guerlain in 1828. The two offerings that we're going to discuss today, of course, is Derby, which is listed as a men's fragrance. You can see how much juice I've used out of this. I believe this one was launched in 2012. It has leather. It's a warm, spicy, woody floral. It's a little smoky, citrus. I don't particularly get much of the smoke in this. I will tell you some of the notes, but another I want to mention is the pros and cons of this. The pros is it's a very refined gentleman's scent. It's fantastic looking bottle or flacon, and it's exclusive to Guerlain boutiques. The cons is they're limited edition, so a lot of times they either do a reformulation, or as they done this one here that we'll talk about, one of my favorite, Imperiale, Tonka Imperiale, has been retired. It went to a new bottle. It wasn't a new reformulation. It smells the same. However, I was told that they retired this one, so I'm using this juice very sparingly, and this juice is very special to me, and later on I'm gonna tell you why. So the top notes in Derby is bergamot, orange. The middle notes are carnation. I do get a lot of carnation. It's beautiful. I get some of the spices. I get some of the exotic woods. And then at the base, that's after the dry down, you finally come into the leather, the patchouli, the woody notes, and birch. This here, it get compliments. I don't look for compliments, but this will get compliments from certain gentlemen. I would dare say the refined. I would say an age range for a person that can appreciate this would be somewhere in the mid 30s. 35 would be preferably a good age when they're ready for something like this, and not that boy stuff that you find. They're ready to grow up to the big boy stuff. Then they want to step their game up. They want to go with Derby. It's a barbershop smell. It will last 12 hours, and its presence and anything that I buy or show you, you're gonna know that you have it on. So when someone tells you you smell good, you already know that because it's still there. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't disappear. You don't go nose blind. It don't knock you down. I don't particularly like fragrances that do in what they call beast mode. That's not my thing. I just like to be in the room and you know that I'm there when you happen to grace my presence. You come up near me, you will find a nice smell, and this is one of them. Where you might wear this It is a heavy fragrance. You can wear it when you want because fragrances tend to change depending on what the weather is. But some fragrances, it is true that if you wear it in the colder weather, it shines a little more. And sometimes you may only want to go light on the trigger. In fact, let me show you what this atomizer looks like. That's good stuff. Okay. So this next one we're going to talk about is my favorite. We're going to talk about Tonka Imperiale. And Tonka Imperiale is special to me because of something very significant, and that is the death of my mother. I came across this fragrance, and I'm going to tell you when this came out, what's in this. Okay, it is sweet. It's not very sweet, but it is sweet. And it comes with a puffer. You've probably seen these in movies, but this is true to French fragrance. They're known for this poof. However, they do have the atomizer where you can just use straight on it for what you may be used to. But this is what they have on that. Tonka Imperiale. Like I said, it is a wonderful vanilla smell. And the reason this juice was not as dark as you see it now, but over time it has changed. So I imagine now the smell may be amazing as it already was amazing. It's more amazing because it's had time to get oxygen in there and it'll macerate. And they change like fine wine. If you have a wine cellar and you put wine in there and you let it sit for several years, you come back. But however, these guys use some of the best materials known. So you can't go wrong with a Guerlain. If you're familiar with Guerlain or not, you might hear the word Shalimar because that was their flanker, in my opinion. But they had many others, Masuko, they had Jiki. But this one here, I only wear when I think of my mom, because when I bought this in 2014, but I believe it launched before then, but we're gonna get into some of the notes. At the top, we have bitter almond, rosemary, and bergamot. In the middle notes, we have tonka bean, tobacco, and jasmine. And then the base notes, we have a beautiful incense, cedar, and pine. I don't think I get much of the pine. I do get the jasmine, tobacco, and incense. I do get a lot of the almond and the tonka bean as well. But not so much the rosemary, but they are blended to perfection. You really have to know how to pick out the notes for you to really get into what I'm saying when I say top notes, mid notes, and base notes. The average person, if they're not into a fragrance like that, they may not even know anything about notes, and they may not know what that means when I say, and when it reaches the dry down period where you really get in the end. So I maybe try to explain that. At the top, mid, and base, when you first spray a fragrance, and I do suggest that when you buy a fragrance, you do not emotional buy, because when you first try it on, it's not how it's going to smell in the end. Some of these fragrances are very complex, and so they will change. And you may like it, you may love it, you may hate it, but it'll be because you smelt the top notes. So I suggest you either try to get your hands on a sample, or you go in a store, a boutique, and you spray some on, and you maybe leave the store, come back in a couple of hours. Now you're into the final phase of what it's going to remain for the rest of the day. And in these cases, it will wake you up in the morning because it will be with you. You will still smell these, and if you really want to shine, you put it on a sweater or a scarf and you're good to go. But oh, I did say that we would talk about a little bit of candles, so let's get into this one right quick. This is Aspen and Fog. It's by a company called Guerlain Wax Company. It's a local company here in St. Louis, so sometimes I do support the local businesses. Over my shoulder here to the right is a diffuser by a local company. I don't know if they're local, but I believe they are. It's a company called Bridgewater. And this thing really shines. You may not put it in a very big room, or you have to walk past it. But I suggest your bathroom, your bedroom for certain. Certainly, you put it in your bedroom, it's going to be good to go. Close the door, you open it up, you come back tomorrow. It's there, and you put a smile on your face. If you need a mood uplifter, this is one of them. But yeah, Bridgewater Candle Company. And they make room sprays as well. I purchased room sprays, I purchased candles. But these are not very expensive. Some of these, I want to say the price. This diffuser, I believe it was like $24. The candle certainly was no more than $20. But I will later get into candles that are cheaper, and then we're gonna get into some candles that are just outrageously priced, but outrageously good, well over $150 for a candle. And it's not a big candle, but it's a good one. And we will get into Bath and Body Works, which I don't like. They're too loud and cheap, but that's my opinion. All fragrances are whatever nose you smell and you like it. All fragrance is good fragrance if you like it. But just in my opinion, it's typical, and I don't particularly subscribe to them, but I will give them away as gifts. So with that, I'm going to bid you guys a good night, and remember, keep smelling good.